Hey everybody, welcome back to Everyday Journey. We got a pair of string mowers to work on. These are both Cadet ST100 mowers, and they were bought in an auction by a friend of mine. He asked me to go ahead and look at them for him, and so we don't really know any kind of whether or not they work at all. I'm going to refer to this one as 1 and this one as 2. 2 being the better, I think, of the two of them. So let's look at them real quick. What I can see here is this one, number 1, seems to have, well, it has no oil dipstick, and it seems like there's oil kind of on the deck, some of it. So there's a good chance that there may be either 1, overflow where it came out while it was being used, or 2, maybe it's just blowing out of the exhaust. I don't know. This one right here has a little bit of that, but I think it's mostly just from use. And it does have the dipstick on it. Everything between these two mowers, besides the dipsticks, looks almost the same, except for one thing I do notice about this one. It looks like the spindle here looks like it may be bent in. So there's a good chance that somebody was mowing and it slipped and they went down like this, and it just put all the force right there on that spindle. And so I'm not sure if that can be fixed or not. We'll have to check it out and see. But let's go ahead and check them out real quick, see if we can't get either one of them running. So first things first, let's check the oil. All right, using the same dipstick. This one, number 2, is actually good on oil. Number 1 here is showing signs of, well, the oil itself looks good, what little bit's on there, but it is a bit low. So I'm going to go ahead and put some more in that before we try to fire it up. Let's start with number 2 though, and let's look at the air filter. Looking at it, it looks fairly new. I mean, a little bit of stuff in it there, but looks fairly new. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Dump the crud out of it. All right. And before we put any fuel in it, let's see if it cranks at all. Well, see if it turns. And that right there seems really easy. So I think we'll go ahead and put some fuel in it and see what happens. If you're doing this on your own, you put some fuel in it, watch for leaks right off the bat. Should be enough to get it started. Doesn't look like we've got any kind of primer bulb or fuel shutoff, so it should be ready to start. Let's see what happens. So far nothing. Maybe I didn't put enough fuel in it. If it's going to do something, that should be plenty. Well, that wasn't too bad. It seems like it's probably just a little bit of crud in the carburetor. But once it kind of cleared that out of there and then warmed up a little bit, it seemed like it steadied up. So it's one of those we'll just have to try it out and see how it goes. Let's move over here to number 1. And we'll go ahead and switch out our dipstick. We know we need a little bit of oil. Shouldn't take too much. That's a little better. Let's go ahead and add some fuel to this one. Now again, let's check the air filter. And this one looks like it was used quite a bit more. It's a little bit dirtier. And yeah, that's not sure what the engineers were thinking on this one. You either need a quick release wheel so you can take that off of there, or you got to sit here and fight with it because they didn't leave enough room for the cover here. All right. Now this one having a spindle like it is, not sure what it's going to do. Let's see. It's already a lot harder to pull. So this one right here, it's running, but you saw how much it smoked. There's a good chance they probably blew out a lot of the oil, maybe ran it hot, and you never know. It is running though, so it probably could be used, but definitely have to address this spindle. So let's see if we can't take that off of there real quick. So we got this shroud that has to come off of here. Looks to be 7/16. There are washers on every single one of these, so make sure you don't lose those. It looks like the spindle is held on by a by 1/2-inch bolts that through bolt. You do have a tension pulley right here that's spring loaded. So we might want to go ahead and release the tension on that. So to release the tension, there's a spring under here. Just grab the hooked end of it on this side. It's going to be one of those easier said than done things. There we go. So once we get the tension off of it, we can go ahead and undo all our bolts. So again, they are through bolted, so you're going to need a 1/2-inch for the top and the bottom. So this is the way that came out of there. Just putting it back on here so we make sure I keep the order correct. Now we got one last center bolt that actually holds the spindle on, and it looks like it's trying to turn the whole thing. So we're going to go ahead and put a bolt down through here, try to hold it. This one did have some thread locker on it. So let's see what our spindle looks like. Well, I think there might be a little bit of a problem. You see that? As I spin this around, you can see the different orientations of it. And it's welded on here. So at this point, if you're doing this without proper tools and things like that, you'd basically have to buy a whole new spindle for this. But I think we can probably either one, bend it back, and then you just have to be careful with it. Make sure that none of the welds broke and that, you know, the metal itself didn't break. And then bolt it back on, should be good. If that doesn't work and it does break off, then it's a matter of just getting this straight and welding it again so that you're basically starting with a new part. So I think we're going to try to straighten it. All right, so this is what I came up with. I got this piece lagged down so that it's leaning that way. I've got a block here to keep this pulling up, and I've got ratchet straps. So let's see if I don't get this fixed or get a face full of splinters. Maybe a little bit of persuasion. Trying to go a little bit further, so everything tends to spring out a little bit afterwards. And it did. So I'll go a little further than that. Let's see what it looks like this time. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Let's take it back off of here and see what kind of damage we did to the welds. Looks like the weld's intact. It is a little off, but really all that's going to do is just affect the pulley. And that's the main reason why we had to straighten it out, because it would still work being like this, but that belt would be going on that pulley awkward and it'd wear out your belt real quick. So this being a little bit off won't be that bad. Shouldn't affect it that much at all. Let's go ahead and put it back on and let's try them out. Well, there you go. Both of them are working. One of them actually seems to work a little bit better than the other. Number 2 is the one that worked the best. Number 1, yes, we fixed the spindle, seems to be all right, but either the carburetor needs to be adjusted, cleaned out or something, or it's maybe that that it just doesn't have the compression. I don't know which. You can check it out further, but right now they're both running. I did have to kind of swap parts with them. Each of them only have one of these, so that you can actually set the height of this and actually keep it up at the same time. So I actually put both of them on each one. This one definitely needs an oil cap so that you can actually keep the trash out of there. Right now I have it covered up, and but like I said, they are both running. I don't know what you paid for them, but whatever it is, just the fact that they are running, I think you probably got a good deal. Now, they don't seem to have a lot of power, and I don't think that it's an issue with adjustments or issue with a compression or anything like that. I really just think that these things are I think they're just underpowered. As you can see, whenever I got into something thick, it kind of bogged down a little bit with either one of them, and in my eye, that shouldn't really happen. You should be able to just kind of power right through it unless you're hitting something really, really large, and really, you know, it doesn't have blades or anything. It just has the twine under there, so that shouldn't really affect it much. I mean, thick grass is probably about the worst thing for this, and it really should just plow right through that. So hopefully everybody liked this, and hopefully in the future I'll have some other ones. So if you got any questions about these, let me know. I'll try my best to respond. Definitely hit that like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and until next time, y'all take care.